Hey, I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and please like my videos. Today we're going to look at the regulation of a watch. And here I have a very cheap Chinese TM340 wristwatch. Although this is a cheap watch, it does have a kind of a neat case with a viewing window on the back here. So let's have a look at that. Lift this off and you'll see the movement inside. And it's an automatic movement with a rotor here, and there is the balance and the balance cock for this watch. So today we're looking at regulating this watch, and regulating this watch is to get it as close to 0 seconds a day delta when fully wound. To do that, you have to first change the lift angle of this watch. And the lift angle is the angle in degrees between the entry and release of the impulse pin. Most lift angles for modern watches like Hamilton's or Rolex's can be determined off the internet because most of them are published. Although I'm not going to describe in detail how to determine the lift angle, there are videos out there if you Google that on how to determine a lift angle of the watch. What you would do though is take a watch at rest here and you would mark the balance on this watch, and then you would wind the watch to allow the amplitude to be 180 degrees. So what it is a full swing of 360 in both directions. So 360 going this way, 360 coming back, 180 degrees, and then you'd put this watch on a time grapher, and then you would adjust the time grapher lift angle until the time grapher itself said that you had an amplitude of 180, and that would mean that your lift angle is now accurate. So you're changing your lift angle on your time grapher to make sure that it's showing a full rotation of 360 or an amplitude of 180. That's one way of actually determining the lift angle of a watch where you don't have the ability to look it up if it's an old vintage watch. And also, before regulating a watch, you have to make sure that it has a reasonable amplitude. So on a full wind, the amplitude of the watch should be above 230 on a time grapher. So that's a very reasonable amplitude, and you double that to determine the absolute swing of the balance, and that's how much the balance is rotating in one full direction before it stops and starts rotating in the other direction. So once you've determined what the lift angle is and you put that into your time grapher, then the first thing you will do is check what the beat error is for the watch. And the beat error is the difference between the clockwise swing and the counterclockwise swing of the balance. A perfect beat error is 0. And understanding in one direction the hairspring is compressing or coiling inward, and in the other direction it's decompressing. So getting a 0 beat error is very difficult. With a beat error of 0, the pallet fork mouth should be resting in the center between the banking pins of the watch. So once you've established a solid beat error closest to 0 as you can, then you can regulate the watch by sliding the regulation pins, which are 2 pins that slide along the curvature of the hairspring. And as they slide forward and virtually making the hairspring shorter, then the watch will go faster. As they slide backward, I'll say, towards the stud, then the watch will slow down because it's making the length of the hairspring longer. So here we have the watch hooked up to a time grapher with a lift angle of 52 degrees. The amplitude's not great, but okay at 213. And the rate is minus 11 seconds per day, but the beat error is 2.7 milliseconds, which is not good. So what we're going to do here is this lever that you see right here is used to adjust the beat error, and we're just going to push that lever towards the left to do that. So I'm going to be very careful when I do that, that I don't touch the hairspring or any other parts of that watch as I adjust that beat error. So I've adjusted the beat error, and as you can see on the left-hand side, the lines are a lot closer together, which means my beat error is getting a lot better. My rate has also changed, so I'll nudge that again and see if I can get the beat error closer to 0. And now my lines are almost on top of each other. My beat error is 0.5 milliseconds. And I'm going to nudge it one more time, 0.2 milliseconds. I think I'm probably close enough. And now the beat error is 0.2 milliseconds and the watch is going to settle in. My amplitude is not great, it's 196, but that shouldn't change much unless my lift angle for this watch is actually off. So once I get my beat error to 0.2, I could probably get it to 0 if I nudge it one more time very carefully. That was the world's smallest nudge. Let's see what this does. So actually my beat error is now 0.6, so it increased my beat error. So you're playing the game of beat error here. So I'll move that the other way again, and you see the beat error closing now on the watch. But the rate is now negative 27 seconds per day. So a negative rate would mean that I have to slide this arm here inward towards myself, which is thereby reducing the length of the hairspring. So I just give it a little bit of a slide there, and you can see how that curve is now going upward, which means the watch is actually speeding up. So now to slow the watch down, I would push it the other way. And that's lengthening the hairspring. And we can see that the line is now almost flat. I've got about a 20-degree turn on that line, and the rate is now -5 seconds per day, which is not too bad. But I'm going to try this one more time, and the beat error is actually 0.1. So it just went to -17 for some reason, but I need to speed that up just a bit. So I'm going to nudge it again. Now you could nudge that, that's speeding it up way too much. You can nudge that with a piece of pegwood or some tweezers, as I'm doing, and I just nudged it again. So that, I think that is close enough right there. So we're looking at 8 seconds per day. I could slow that down, no, 3 seconds per day, and the beat error of 0.2. The amplitude is 217, so that's pretty close to where I want to be. So that, my friends, is how you would regulate this watch. Given that the lift angle is 52, the rate of +3 seconds per day is very good. Now I would run that in all positions, in 5 positions, to see how good it is. And as you can see, the rate just dropped to 0 seconds per day. So that is a very well regulated watch. So that's the video for today. So thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. And if you want to see more videos like that, let me know. So there you go. That's how you regulate a watch. Pocket watches are regulated in a similar manner, except instead of changing the touching this arm here, you actually have a collet on the watch, and you actually have to rotate the collet left or right to adjust the beat error. It's a lot harder than on a modern watch. So that's how you adjust the beat error, given that you know the lift angle of the watch, and then adjust the amplitude by riding those regulator pins along the hairspring. So that's my video for today. If you're looking for other videos of a similar nature, let me know and I'll put them up. So thanks a lot for watching my channel, and I'll catch you next time.